Micah Parsons did not make the NFLPA All-Pro team voted on by the players. Myles Garrett and Max Crosby did make it. But even without Micah, the Cowboys led with 5 selections. CeeDee Lamb, the offensive guard Zach Martin, Tyler Smith, cornerback Deron Bland, and kicker Brandon Aubrey. God bless him. So, Michael Irvin, what does this tell you about our Cowboys?
Let me tell you what it says, guys. And there's a lot of talk, and we get a lot of talk, and we hear a lot of noise about Jerry Jones and all the meddling and all of this and everything. All of these guys right here that we are talking about are what I call homegrown. CeeDee Lamb drafted Dallas Cowboys. They're Bland. Everybody that's on this list and what I would like to call debatables. That Dak Prescott should be on that list. Yep. You could debate the Dak Prescott being on that list. Michael Parsons is not even on that list. All of this is homegrown. It speaks to the job that Will McClay and all of their organization has done to get those players, not players they signed from other teams, but the players they drafted, the players that they raised, they grew, and certainly they're going to have to pay some of these players. But all of that noise about Jerry being too involved, it's just noise. This says something about what the organization is doing. They got a pretty good system, and it's putting out some pretty good players. This is 5, and it should be 7. It should be 7. Michael Parsons and Dak Prescott can easily be on that list. And we've had the Tyron Smiths on that list. All of those key, Skip, that's homegrown Cowboys nation from the bottom to the top. That's what I like about that.
You are right about the noise and Jerry Jones, Michael. I've been telling people that for years, like just years. They because how Jerry is involved. He's, Jerry likes to talk, and he's got his radio shows, and that's what he likes to do. So people automatically assume that he's meddling and calling plays and things. It's like, no, it's not. You can go down a long laundry list since, all the way back to y'all, Michael, of the players that he was involved in drafting and being a part of as an owner, general manager. You can go on and on. Even though he may have had others helping him out, he's still the final stop with him. Everything stops with him. So when you look at this and you say, well, what does this do for your organization? It just shows that they're doing the right things and bringing the right players in and getting the productivity out of these players. And yes, it is debatable if you Dak Prescott, but you're not putting him over Lamar. It's just because these are the players that are voting. This has nothing to do with writers or any. These are the guys, Michael, the guys that are playing against you, watching you and seeing you every single week, whether they're playing you or watching you on film because they play an opponent that you may have played. And so they see their ability. CeeDee Lamb, it's not even, hands down, it's not even a question on whether or not he was going to be an all-pro on an all-pro team. When you start to look at guys like Max Crosby, he came on late when all of a sudden AP took over and he had an injury. He continued to play and he came on, and the players took notice and they realized that. It's hard to say Bland doesn't belong on the list. He got 6 touchdowns? Come on. That sealed it. If he didn't have another interception, he would have had four for touchdowns, he'd have made all-pro. That's just because
T.J. Watt ain't on the list. T.J. Watt ain't on the list.
T.J. Watt's not on the list.
I was like, wait, how's T.J. Watt not on this thing? And then I thought, well, who do you take off? Are you going to take Myles Garrett off? Just like Max Crosby? Crosby balled. Crosby beat Kansas City by himself. Yeah. He beat Kansas City by himself. You see what I'm saying? So you can't take any one of those guys off.
But to make Skip mad real quick, all that's cool.
Real quick. It's like every second. Go ahead.
All that's cool, Skip. Yeah. We're giving accolades.
Yes, we are.
We're talking about all the great things that the Cowboys are doing on paper. Now let's transfer it to the field as a team.
I'm with you. That doesn't make me mad. That makes me
get
glad.
On to the next level now. Yeah. We done got everybody. Now you got your little all-pro money and your incentives and everything. Yeah. Now let's see if you handle business correctly against the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, so allow me to amplify what Michael Irvin just said. Homegrown home runs, because Jerry has final say on every high draft pick. Maybe not on the 6th and 7th rounders, but those first 3 or 4 rounds, Jerry's making the call with the information provided from all the scouts and especially from the great Will McClay, who does a sensational job. Sensational. Now I'm seeing people are, maybe Washington's coming after him, trying to hire him away. Whatever Jerry does, that's the one guy you need to
that. He's not going for that.
Right here, Michael. What you need, man?
Yeah. Well, you better.
He won't go for that. Right. And Will McClay has earned it. Whatever that check is, he's earned it. He deserves it.
He is the lifeblood of this franchise. But Jerry, as crazy as he can act sometimes and as goofy as he can be sometimes about trying to talk about football, he has made consistently sound picks. I mean, the Tyler Smith pick, I didn't even know who Tyler Smith was. And when it came down, I thought, Tyler Smith? Then I know an assistant coach at Tulsa University who texted me later that night. And he said, you don't understand. Tyler Smith is a stud. And
he
just made the...
And he's a dog, Skip.
I know.
He's one of the dogs we have.
Yeah.
It's his mentality. He's a dog.
Yeah, and what the assistant coach texted was that Nick Saban, through the transfer portal, was trying to offer early NIL money to Tyler Smith to leave Tulsa for Alabama. And I'm like, I guess Jerry and Will McClay did it again, because we're pretty soon into his career. It's a short time. He just made first team. Offensive guard.
Remember, though, Skip, how this is so important in terms of this list, because it's the players.
Yeah, players.
It's the guys
the players said him.
He can play. Not this media creation.
Not fans.
These are players.
Right.
All right, back to Micah. Michael Irvin, I hope you can appreciate this, but I was happy that Micah didn't make it because I need to see just a little bit more, and I'm glad that he went from the prohibitive favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year in the Vegas odds going into this season to he didn't make the All-Pro team voted on by the players. I need Micah to hear that, to know that, to be motivated by that, because he had a nice game at Washington, but he'd been pretty quiet for the previous 4 games. And we know that down the stretch last year, the last 6 games, he had a sack and a half. I just need a little more because he's capable of so much more. And, Michael, I hope you concur. I need fire lit starting Sunday. And I hope it continues to the following weekend and the following weekend. I need him to start wrecking games and taking over the way we saw Max Crosby do for the Raiders down the stretch of their regular season.
And maybe that will.
I'm calling for that also.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I'm calling for all of that also, Skip. It has to be next level stuff. He's moving towards a next level in his life.
Yes.
You know, he's going to be he's going to be probably the highest paid defensive player.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If he has an agent worth anything, he's moving toward. I want you to move everything towards that next level. The way he goes about training, the way he gets himself ready. But I need him to start this weekend by wrecking a game. Come away with one of those 2 or 3 sack games where we saw you all day back there sitting in the lap of love. Sitting in the lap of love.
I love that. Yeah.
That's exactly what we want you, sitting in the lap of love.
Yep, I am so with you. And Keyshawn, you don't make me mad when you say this about on paper, because you're right.
Yes.
They're, 7.5, I think it's 7.5 point favorites over Jordan Love and company, and they've had a sensational year. But look, we're better than Green Bay. We're far more experienced than Green Bay.
Well, at least on paper, y'all are.
Well, okay. Well, there you go. I think you're leaning toward picking Green Bay in this game.
Don't worry about what I'm doing.
That's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
But you're right.
But that's why it's important too. But that's why it's important that Michael Parsons.
Yeah.
That's why it's important that Michael Parsons and what we're talking about. Yeah. Because what Key just talked about. This young team, if you're not careful, drops back 2, 3, 4 times, bam, bam, you could be down 14-0. That's Michael Parsons. Make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah. When they drop back, you drop them. That's what we're talking about. Okay. Start early and get it out the way.
All right. So I can make a case that that this is the most talented team in the Super Bowl tournament. I can make that case. You can argue San Francisco. I love this team. I love what they are on paper. If it comes to this, I need them to go back to San Francisco and make third time's the charm. Show us that paper can be reality. Show us on the football field. Is this team capable of beating San Francisco? You better believe it is, but it has to go do it. It has to beat Green Bay. It has to win another home game. And if it's required, it has to go back to San Francisco and live up to this billing. The players have blessed you. So Michael and I talked. The Jimmy curse got broken. Philadelphia just fell on its face. And all of a sudden, we back into the division after we all but lose a game to Detroit.
He's doing so good,
Okay?
Skip.
Well, I'm just telling you. So here we are, and we're positioned.
It sets up perfectly.
It is. It sets up. I mean, the heavens have opened. The NFL God said, let there be Dallas.
So
okay?
you do realize y'all got the same amount of all pros except the kicker as San Francisco.
Yeah. But
Okay.
didn't we have one more? I think we have the most.
No, you got because of the kicker.
Because, well, you don't count him. I do. All he did is make 35 out of his first 35.
I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, he'll probably decide
on the
games.
list is cool. I'm not
I'll take it.
discounting. I'll take him too because he knocks him down. But when you look at it, because you said that you could argue that they're the most talented team left in the tournament.
You can.
And I had to think about it. I'm like, more talented than San Francisco?
Okay. Well, I can make a case.
You could
I could
probably
show you.
try and argue that.
No.
You probably could try and argue it.
Yeah.
Even Baltimore, is they more talented than Baltimore? I mean,
Okay. I hark back to what the great Rob Gronkowski said moments
You know what?
after the
I'm thinking
Buffalo
that
game.
too now.
Hang on just a second, Michael.
Skip.
Yeah, all right,
Okay,
go ahead. Okay, so
But
just remember what
go ahead.
Rob Gronkowski said on Fox moments after the Buffalo beatdown that Dallas suffered. He said, that's not a mentally tough football team. So all this
Right.
paper is great,
That's
all these accolades, but are you mentally tough? A jury's still out for me. I need to see it. Okay, go ahead, Michael.
It's what you guys were just talking about, man. When you talk about this, what I need to see, I need to see in this game. What I need to see from Dallas's defense is domination. We could talk about this all day. Dallas, I thought, down the stretch, played some pretty good defense. As you go into the playoffs, right here, right now, Michael Parsons is a huge name. He can really hit a meteoric rise right here with the way he plays. And this first game sets up perfectly for him. They're going to throw the ball and give him some opportunities because they have a great passing game. The guy that's throwing the touchdowns, the only guy threw more touchdowns than him is Dak Prescott. That's Jordan Love. They're 1 and 2 in touchdown passes. So this is a great opportunity, and this is an opportunity that he must say, I'm the best player in the National Football League.
No, it's a huge opportunity. You know, because you played in playoff games. I played in playoff games. Your nickname was the playmaker. Not because of the regular season.
That is a fact.
Not because of the regular season, but because
this right here, right,
of the playoffs.
You got it.
When you take it to the next level, the playoffs, everybody's a watcher. Remember, there's only like 2 games on, and then maybe next day there's 2, and then it just slowly but surely goes down, and you become what you become. And if Michael Parsons could duplicate some of the same things that he did against the Washington Commanders in this playoff game, he will now start to garnish that attention as not just a guy early in the season, but also a guy in the postseason that can wreak havoc on people because he tails off at the end of the year. He just does.
Right.
I mean, he just does.
What we don't want him with during his whole career is that narrative and him becoming the James Harden of the NFL. We got to stop.
We don't want that.
And we must stop it right here, right now. And I'm just saying, and I think James Harden's going to change that narrative this year also with what he got going on in Clippers. And we'll talk about that as we move. But I do think that may change.
Okay, so in summation here, tune in tomorrow and watch Keyshawn Johnson make the mistake of picking the Green Bay Packers on Sunday at Jerry World. Thank you. Okay, up next, with so many big names available now in the coaching market, what will Raiders owner Mark Davis do about hiring Antonio Pierce full-time? next.
Some good takes on the Cowboys. That's crazy. Dak and Micah didn't make the list. The most NFL All-Pros, which is great. So hopefully we make a Super Bowl run. That's what I'm hoping for.